Hello, I'm Crystelle Pereira and I am so excited to be in Food 52 Studios cooking up some chicken tikka nachos. Okay, so we're first going to start with the chicken tikka marinade. So we're going to start with our spice base, which is the most important part. So we've got a range of spices here. So we're first going to start with some coriander seeds. So I'm going to put 1.5 teaspoons of coriander seeds into my pan. And then also whole cumin seeds. So again, 1.5 teaspoons going in. And then we've got some kashmiri chili powder for a bit of heat. So going with 1 teaspoon. If you don't like your stuff too spicy, you can obviously dial it down, but we're gonna mix it with yogurt later, so it's all gonna sort of become a bit more subtle. We've got 1 teaspoon of garam masala, which is a sort of mixed spice blend, which is lovely and fragrant. And then we've got 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, which has got quite an earthy flavor, but also adds a lovely color to your chicken tikka. So that's all my spices, and now the most important part here is to toast your spices, because when you toast spices, you release all of the oils in the spices, and that's what's going to add a lovely depth of flavour. So we're going to put this on a low heat for about 7 minutes, and it's going to smell so lovely and fragrant. And then when that's done, we're going to bash it up into a lovely powder, and then mix it with the rest of our marinade. Okay, so now I've got my toasted spices. I'm going to add them to my mortar and pestle. And we're going to bash this up to form a lovely fine powder that's going to go in our marinade. You can get out all your anger and crush those spices. And as soon as you start to crush those cumin seeds and the coriander seeds, you're going to smell even more, because all of those lovely oils are going to come out of all of those whole spices. And it also doesn't have to be completely fine. Having a bit of texture is also nice in the chicken tikka, so it's completely up to you. And I'm going for a mortar and pestle, which is, I guess, the traditional way. If you've got a spice blender, you can also use that as well, but it's completely up to you. Okay, that looks good. Okay, great. So now that my spice blend's done, we're going to get the rest of the ingredients for the rest of the yogurt marinade. So we've got our lovely toasted and ground spices, so we're going to add this to a big bowl. And then to this, we're going to add some plain yogurt. And this is going to also sort of hum those really strong spices, but it's also what's going to help really kind of tenderize that chicken when we add this in. So we've got some whole yogurt going in. And then no marinade is complete without garlic. Add as much as you want. I've gone for 3 cloves. So I just like to crush them a bit to help peel the skin off. Okay, so we're going to grate this in, just to get it nice and fine. That way it's kind of going to be well distributed in our marinades. You can even bash these up in a mortar and pestle if you prefer. It's completely up to you. So we've got all of our garlic in, nicely grated. And now we're going to add some ginger, because garlic and ginger are just synonymous. So I like to eyeball this, but a thumb-sized piece, because that is actually the size of my thumb. That was very lucky. And the way I actually peel the way I peel ginger, I learned from my mum, is to use a knife. You don't actually need a peeler, because I feel like a peeler takes off too much of it and it's quite wasteful. So you just want to carefully put your thumb there and then bring the knife towards you, and you actually take off all of the skin, but a really thin layer. And it's quite an efficient way to peel garlic. Sorry, why do I keep on calling this garlic? What's wrong with me? Synonymous, so. Yeah, true, they are synonymous. My top tip with ginger, not garlic, is to freeze it. And whenever I freeze my ginger, you can grate it really easily with the skin on. So I tend to do that. Perfect, so the grated ginger, the grated garlic is in the marinade. And now for a bit of zing, we've got some fresh lime. I always think it's important to add some sort of acid to any marinade, just so you've got that balance of flavors. And my tip, whenever I roll out and I cut a lime, if you just put a bit of weight on it, that's going to get all the juices flowing in it, which will make it a bit easier for the juice to come out when you squeeze it. So carefully cut that in half, and then just squeeze this into your marinade. Now, I actually find that limes don't have many seeds in it, but I learnt this from Jamie Oliver, to keep your hand there to catch any if they do come out. Okay. Last things to do, of course, seasoning. So just a good pinch of salt and pepper going in. A bit more. Okay, perfect, and that's it. And I'm just gonna give this a really good mix, and you're gonna start to see the color of this change to a lovely sort of orange, that really familiar color of chicken tikka. It's that really orange yellow color. And that's kind of all coming from the turmeric and all of the spices. And the smells so nice. It smells really, really good. So you're gonna give that a nice mix. And that is literally your marinade done. So all that's left to do is to add your chicken in and leave it to marinate for at least an hour, ideally 8 hours. The longer you leave it, the better, but also if you're short on time, just marinate it for an hour and you'll be fine. So I've got my chicken thighs, which I've sliced up. I didn't need to show you how to do that. I'm sure you know how to cut up a chicken thigh. And I've gone for chicken thighs because I think it's the best cut of chicken. It's a lot more forgiving than a chicken breast. And all I'm gonna do is just cover the chicken, and not drop the bowl, in this lovely fragrant yogurt marinade. And I always use a spatula just to really get out every little inch of that marinade. Okay, and then we're just gonna give this a good mix and get this really well coated. You wanna make sure that every inch of that chicken is coated in that lovely marinade. Give it a nice little bath. That looks good. So once your chicken is nicely bathed in your marinade, you just want to cover this and leave it for about an hour, minimum an hour, maximum 8 hours or overnight, to let all the flavors really sing, marry in with the chicken, and all that yogurt's going to penetrate the chicken and really tenderize it. So I'm just going to cover this up. It's going to cover this and put this in the fridge. I'm going to keep this in the fridge for an hour if you're short on time. Whack it in the fridge, and in that time when it's marinating, you can make your raita, you can do everything else. So actually, timing-wise, it works quite well. These nachos are going to get 3 lucky toppings. So we've got a raita, which is a cooling yogurt dressing. We've got a mint and coriander chutney, and we've got some pickled onions. And they're all going to add a lovely freshness, a bit of zing, that's going to go really well with the chicken tikka and the lovely crunchy nachos as well. So first, going to start with the raita. So we've got here some plain yogurt, which is the base of any raita. And to this, we're going to add some fresh cucumber. So you can keep the skin on, helps it to stay quite crunchy, and we're just going to chop this up really finely. So just going to dice this up. So cut it down the middle. So just going to add this to our bowl with the yogurt. Also, it feels quite healthy, doesn't it? It's just yogurt and veg, really. So, and now we've got some fresh tomatoes. Get a nice big fat tomato, and we're going to chop this up and add it in. Again, you want to dice up everything. You want it to be quite chunky because you want some texture, but also, a bit small as well. So you've got little bites of freshness going in. Okay. Now we've got, this is the biggest small red onion I've ever seen. So we'll go with half of this. Just dice this up and put this in. I love raita. You typically find raita with a curry or a biryani, and the whole point of a raita is to it's that cooling agent to sort of, numb all of those spices in something really punchy. So it kind of has the same role here. You've got that really punchy chicken tikka, and then you've got that cooling raita. So I think it just goes really well. Fabulous. So red onion going in. And also, it's just, I love it because you've got the red onion, you've got the tomatoes and the cucumber, and it's quite colourful, which just makes the nachos just look a bit more fun. Okay, perfect. So that's all in. And then we have got some fresh cilantro. So I'm going to chop this up quite fine, but again, you can leave it, a little bit chunky if you want. Perfect. And that's all going to go in. And now we're just going to flavour it with a bit more zing. So we've got juice of half a lime, just to really kind of bring out that lovely fresh flavour. So we're going to squeeze that in. And then for a little bit of heat, kashmiri chili powder, which we use in the chicken tikka. So you want about half a teaspoon. But you can obviously add more as you wish. But again, because we've got the yogurt, even if you add quite a bit, it's going to sort of be all cooled down by all the yogurt and everything, so you should be fine. And then pinch of salt, just to season everything. That is literally it. I'm just going to give this a good stir. This looks and smells so nice. It just smells really fresh, and like the smell of fresh cilantro and red onions. It's just lovely with a bit of that heat from the chili powder. And obviously I've kept this quite chunky, but it depends. You can cut this a lot more fine depending on your preference, but you want a bit of texture because don't forget this is going on nachos, so you want to have, it's kind of like a nice eating experience with lots of different textures and flavours going on. And now this can go and sit in the fridge while we make the rest of our chutneys. So we're going to make our pickled onions now, which is another topping for our nachos. And it's so simple. All you need There's a red onion and some lime juice, that's it, nothing else. So we're gonna slice this rather than dice it, just again to have another sort of texture going on. So you don't want it, you want it to be, I mean, quite thin as you want. When you pickle it in all of the lime juice, it's actually all gonna become really soft anyway, so it won't be that chunky. So gonna add this to a small bowl. Small bowl's quite important because the smaller your bowl, the higher your lime juice will be, so they'll be able to be really nicely submerged into the lime juice. Now we're gonna get your lime, again, roll it out to get all of the juices going, and then cut this in half. And then you just wanna squeeze the lime juice over your red onion. My top tip when you're pickling an onion like this, you actually wanna get the onion and scrunch it with your hands, and that's gonna help the onions pickle faster. So you just wanna basically make sure that all of the onions are really well sort of mixed in with the lime juice as they start to pickle in the lime juice. So just really scrunch them with your hands. And then we're gonna leave this to sit, and this will pickle for as long as it takes to make the rest of our stuff. So I'm gonna put this to one side. Okay, great. We're gonna make our cilantro and mint chutney, which is really simple, and you don't cook it. It all goes straight into a blender and you blitz it, and it's a lovely, fresh, fragrant, sweet, salty, slightly, what's the word? Slightly spicy chutney. So it's very simple. So we've got here our fresh cilantro, and again, put your stalks in because that's got all of the flavor. So that's gonna go into our blender. And then we've got some fresh mint as well. So you want a big handful. Now the only thing is mint stalks are a bit more thick, so I like to just take off. I use the thin stalks, but the thick stalks are quite hard, so you can avoid those, but put in lots of the mint leaves. But I love the combination of cilantro and mint. I just think they're so fresh and they work really well together. And especially in a dish like this, it just adds a lovely sort of freshness, a bit of zing that you really want. So add that all in, and you don't need to chop up anything because it's all gonna be blitzed. Okay, so that's like 2 big handfuls of cilantro and mint going in. And then for a bit of heat, a green chili. Now it's completely up to you. If you like it spicy, keep the seeds in. If you don't like it too spicy, then just take the seeds out. I like it quite spicy, so I'm gonna keep the seeds in, but I just wanna show you, if you do want to take the seeds out, cut it in half, and then you just wanna pull out the inside and then whack out the seeds, but I'm feeling a bit adventurous, so I'm gonna put the whole thing in. Seasonal. And then we've got 1 clove of garlic. I'm just gonna actually just squish it a little bit, just to encourage it to break up a little bit, and that goes in. And then we've got some lime juice again, which is sort of like the running theme here, but just for a bit more freshness, a bit more zing. So gonna add that in. All right, okay, so lime juice is in. And then we have got a pinch of salt and pepper. So pepper going in, and a little bit of salt as well. And then we've got sugar. Again, something my mum taught me is anytime you're making something savoury, always add in something sweet, because that actually really balances out the flavours. And because you've got chilies and cilantro and mint, it's quite punchy and it's quite strong, and you need a bit of sweetness just to balance everything out. So you want about actually quite a bit, like 2.5 teaspoons. For me, that is a teaspoon. So that's gonna go in. And then just to help blitz everything together, we're going with water. Because it's quite a thin chutney, and water's just gonna help with the lime juice to sort of blitz everything together. And that's literally it. So we're just gonna blitz this up. It doesn't need to be completely smooth. Again, like I was saying with the writer, having a little bit of bite is quite nice. So blitz it to your consistency, your preferred consistency. So I like to have it quite smooth, but a little bit chunky. So we've got our final sauce done, our mint and coriander chutney, and now we're gonna cook our chicken and assemble. We've got here a large skillet that's on a high heat, and we're going to add some coconut oil to fry it off. I like using coconut oil just because it's got a high burning point, so you can fry things at a really high heat. Also, I'm using a cast iron skillet because this is gonna go into the broiler, so you want something that's oven safe. So gonna add in enough coconut oil just to make sure that the base of the skillet is all nicely covered. So once your coconut oil is nice and melted and it's warm, we're gonna go in with our chicken. Oh, look at that sizzle. That's all the spice. This smells so nice. As soon as it hits the oil, you can just smell all of those lovely spices. It smells lovely. Really, really good. So you're gonna cook this on a high heat for about 8 to 10 minutes until the chicken is basically all cooked. And then the reason why we're gonna put this in the broiler is just to get that really nice color. Not fully charred, but just a little charred, just so that it's got that sort of familiar look to it. I love the flavors of chicken tikka, and for me, even when I was developing these recipes, what I love doing is taking a concept from, something like, a dish, a really familiar dish, but putting it into something new and familiar. So taking the essence of a chicken tikka with all of, the raita and the chutneys, but adding it to nachos, which is so different, but it has that familiar flavor, but in a completely different context. And I just think it's what helps dishes become so original and memorable. So we're going to stick this in the broiler for about a minute, but you want to watch it like a hawk. You want it to get a bit of a char, but you don't want to burn it because you put a lot of love and blood, sweat and tears into this, so don't burn your chicken. So I have got all of the elements done. I've got my cooked chicken. I've got the pickled onions, which are lovely and pink now. They look lovely. I've got my coriander and mint chutney, my raita, and I've also got a bottle of mango chutney, which adds a lovely sweetness. We're gonna finally assemble, which is my favorite bit. So the first thing you need is a large plate, which is really important because there's lots going on. You wanna stack it all on and it's gonna be great. So first and foremost, your nachos. So you wanna just get a big pile and scatter them on your plate, like this. Oh. You're gonna get like a thin layer down. You'll then wanna get some of your chicken and just dollop this over your nachos. And then we're gonna go on with our raita. Just give that another mix. And again, just sort of dollop this all over your plate. And you do not need to be neat. Like nachos, it's a very informal dish. It's just all about getting stuck in and mixing everything around. So there's no prim and proper way to plate this up, really. And then we're gonna add some of our mint and coriander chutney, which is also gonna add a lovely color to it. So you can just drizzle this over. And this is already starting to look so fun, like a bit like a paint palette. And then we've got our pickled onions, which are lovely and pink, and again, gonna add a really nice color contrast, but also flavor, texture contrast as well. And then finally, your mango chutney. And I love this because it's sweet and it really adds that balance of flavor. You want that sweetness to go against the sharpness of the onions and the spice and the chicken. It just goes really well together. And then once you've done this, you just assemble it all over again. And you just build up your layers and you can do as much as you want. But I kind of tend to go for about 2 layers of this. It's my favorite time and it's eating time. So there is no right way to do this. You just have to get stuck in. You cannot use cutlery for this. So I'm just gonna go with my hands. And you wanna get a nice piece. So I'm gonna go in. So it's got the chicken. I'm gonna add an onion to this. Oh my God, right. This is so big for my mouth. It's so good. Oh, it's just amazing. I want another bite. But make this, it's really good. So if you want to make this at home, you can get the recipe on Food 52 and you can also follow me at Crystelle Pereira on Instagram to get more updates and more fun recipes. I probably had nachos in my teeth, but well, it's on brand anyway, I've just eaten, so.